Hello. Sadly, I was not able to be in Shul this Shabbos, but every time I go, every time I think of going, I think about my son Shalom and how excited he is for the Torah, for them to bring it out and for them to put it back in. And he's all about Torah, Torah, Torah. You know, when we bring the Torah out, we say, "Vayhi bin so Aaron vayomer Moshe, kum Hashem vayafutzu oivecha v'yanusu misanecha u'mipanecha." And it's a very odd phrasing. It literally means, "Arise, Hashem, and let your foes be scattered. Let those who hate you flee from you." The Torah is the most dear and special thing to us. We're bringing it into our midst. We're about to read from it, and we're talking about God getting rid of his enemies and letting those who don't like him stay away. And it's odd. Is that really our mantra? Is that our focus in life? So we have a lot of insight that it's at this point that Rashi tells us that we had a wonderful, amazing Shavuot, a spectacle, something that's so high, an awe-inspiring moment. And then Klal Yisrael packed up and left a little too fast. They ran away like school children, on to the next task. School's out. School could be fun, school could be great, but they run like children. And it's this fleeing that we're remarking about, that we were the ones that were running away, and that's not the true foes. That we're not foes of Hashem. The real ones should run away. We stay close. So Moshe, he pleads to Hashem, Kuma Hashem, to please turn around, to please let us catch up. Don't run we're not trying to be so far. We see that we're far, but we want to get close to you, Kuma Hashem. So it was a mistake. And Rashi even tells us that this, we talk about Vayhi bin so Aaron, this Aaron, what was the Aaron that we're talking about? It's the ones that hold the mistake we made, those broken luchot, they're holding them. And we're going to hopefully, raise it up. We acknowledge our mistake, but we want to come forward, we want to come together. And similarly, so when we're bringing the Ark back, we're bringing the Torah back to the Aaron. So we say a line. It says, Uvenucho Yomar Shuva Hashem Rivavot Alfei Yisrael. So the Holy Zohar tells us that there's these inverted nuns. There's inverted in the Torah. You'll see that around these phrases there's these inverted nuns. So he says that this verse is, so to speak, beckoning and calling that Hashem should turn back, and that's what the nuns represent. That even though we're so far, we lag so far behind, Hashem turns back. He hasn't forgotten us. He's there with us. So in that vein, we're reminded, don't get yourself down. Don't think you're too far away. And the foes, so to speak, aren't these external forces. They're internal. They reside within us. We just had this amazing moment. Sometimes you have these amazing moments with your parents, sometimes these amazing moments with your spouse. But what causes you to turn so fast away from those people who love you, who showered you, who you had such a beautiful moment yesterday with, or something like that? So it's your own internal desires. It's your own Ishmael and your own Esav, which represent a desire of lust, of anger, of taiva, of kaas. And in essence, that's why when we are talking about this running away, and that it really should be these others that run away. So we say v'yanusu misanecha mipanecha. So misanecha in the language of PL, it's that there's something else. There's this inner challenge. There's this inner struggle. It's not a outside force. It's within us that is coming to hate. And we want to rein that in. And so hopefully we take that to heart. But I wanted to also share that in regards to, this is something that the children, they're just running away. They want to run away from Hashem. So I think about Moshe and Moshe's humility, and that there's shockingly like a pretty stark contrast between what we colloquially call humility and what Moshe exudes. So we normally think of humility as something where you pull back, you rein it in, and you say like, this is not for me, this is not my place, this is, you minimize yourself. But Moshe, of all people, argues, seemingly gets angry, protests against God, and yet he's being told, we're telling the whole world, this is the most humble of all men. He blurts things out like, Ha'anochi hareiti et kol ha'am hazeh, im anochi yilidatihu, ki tomar elai se'ehu bechekecha ka'asher yisa ha'omen et ha'yonek. That I could see these people, that I birthed them, that you would do this to me, carry it in your bosom as a nurse would carry the suckling. I haven't the strength. And yet he's being told, he's the guy, he's the most humble of all men. And again, it says, Lama hareta la'avdecha, why'd you do this evil to your servant? And Lama hareota lama zeh, why have you done this evil to your people? He hits the rock. How humble is this? The basic point is that we can be overwhelmed. Moshe had this overwhelming task. And how could this be me? But he's not talking about me. He's how can it be this for the people? When you take that moment of frustration and you beckon and you call out to Hashem, even in anger, and you say, how could you do this for someone else? That's humble. Humble, you're not concerned about yourself, so you're not arrogant. You're concerned for the other, and you get upset and angry for the other. You want their situation to be improved. You feel helpless in that situation, but you're tapping into something deeper when you call out to Hashem and you say, please help my friend. Please help my nation. You're not really calling out of your own arrogance. You're calling out from love, from pure goodness, from seeking to better the situation of somebody else. And so in that sense, Moshe really is humble. The first time that I heard of this paradox of humility was from my basketball coach, Mel Pacino. And he tried to teach us about what arrogance versus humility is, especially on the basketball court. You have an obligation. You have an obligation to help your team win. You have an obligation to be a team player. So sometimes people are arrogant and they call for the ball and they want to shoot. They want to dribble. They want to score. But if you're the guy that can do the job, if you're the guy that can lead it for the people, that's not lacking humility. Call for the ball. You can make this shot. So it's a little bit of a different point, but still, nonetheless, being humble means knowing your ability. And Moshe's ability was to petition for the people. And I would say that we all have a little bit of Moshe inside of us, so we should all call for that ball. We should all call for that opportunity and rise up and say, I can do it. I can call out, I can petition on behalf of you to Hashem. There's never a person here that has the inability to ask for Hashem to improve his friend's situation. So I encourage us to daven for someone else, to pray for someone else, to think about another person's situation and how it should become better, how their suffering should be no more, and they should only know goodness and kindness from Hashem. And so sometimes we end up, Rahman al-Islam, in a situation where we feel totally helpless, like this situation is bigger than I can handle. And we sometimes get lost and wonder, where is our place in all of this? So when you have that overwhelming feeling, that's Hashem speaking to you, and it's telling you, you thought your story was this small. It's not. It's that big. It's that big that you have the opportunity to be in this situation that you could never, ever imagine yourself handling. And you're going to come through it. You'll pull through it. And it's a call, really, to everyone to cry out to Hashem on behalf of our brothers and sisters. One last point, since we are always in the middle. We're here at Havdalah time, and we're in a transition to the next parsha. Eretz Yisrael already had it, Parsha SHLACH, but there's a deep lesson about not thinking that you're distinct, that you're separate, that you're different from other people. There's a real message of unity. And that message comes, again, by way of the Zohar. And the question is asked, why is the mitzvah of Challah, Hafrashas Challah, to pull the piece. So why is that right next to the instance of the Meraglim, the Ma'aseh Meraglim, what the spies did on behalf of bad-mouthing Eretz Yisrael? So the spies, or the heads of tribes, so to speak, these were great leaders, and they had it all. And what happened was they were going to go into the Eretz Yisrael, and their status, their position was going to be dissolved. Right now, in the Midbar, they had this amazing, amazing status. They were like chiefs of 50, of hundreds. They knew that once they entered the Eretz Yisrael, it was all going to go away. And so their own ego, their own status within the nation was going to take a hit. And so they tried to prevent us from coming in. Going into Eretz Yisrael was going to unite us. It was going to bring us all together. But they wanted to keep the nation a little bit fragmented, a little bit separate, so that they could have their own status. Sometimes we find ourselves and, we're afraid of connecting to our spouse. And, what's that come from? That really comes from an idea that we want to stay unique. As soon as you really reach out and you care for another, so then you kind of mesh. You become part of something greater, something bigger than yourself. And in that, you lose yourself. Your own identity, it blurs a bit because you become part of something greater. There's a difference between something that's created new and then something that's fashioned out of what exists. And the challah is like that. The challah has all the different components, but together they come and they mesh into one another. There's no longer a distinction between the two. And they rise. They become bigger. They become better. So it's in that vein that I'd like to encourage us to really take, women, they make this really like their mitzvah, like Hafrashas Challah is their mitzvah. And there's a testament to that. Men are generally, I was hearing Jordan Peterson's talk about men are seekers of perfection, whereas women are seekers of wholeness. Women sometimes take a hit for their success in their own life, for the sake of something much greater, for the sake of a family, for the sake of their community. Men usually are a little bit more ego-driven and are seekers of perfection. And this mitzvah of challah, it resonates with so many women because really that's what they do so much of the time. They sacrifice their own ego, their own unique identity in order for something much bigger, something that's much greater, something that ties them into blurring their identity, but for the sake of making something whole and making something last. And so with that, I'd like to just return to the Vayehi B'Nso Aaron, that we recognize that we have these amazing opportunities, amazing moments, that we shouldn't run away like school children. We should seize moments even if they're so much greater, they're so much bigger than us. Don't run away from Hashem, don't run away from your family, don't run away from the tasks that are before you, even if they seem so great. Have a focus that it's not about you, that it's about everyone around you. And may you be fulfilled with this love and this kindness that really has us be united. And when we detract and we remove ourselves from our ego a bit, we will feel a greater sense of completeness, of whole. When everyone around you is improving, your situation improves. And in that vein, we should be recognizing that wholeness and that completeness soon, with Mashiach coming speedily in our days. I'd just like to make Havdalah now. ראשון לציון הנה עינם, וירושלים מבשרת הן. אל תזמיחי אויבתי לי, כי נפלתי קמתי, כי אעשה בחושך אדוני אור לי, ונוח מצא חן בעיני אדוני, כי נמצא חן וצמחו חן ושכל טוב בעיני אלוהים וידם. קומי אורי כי באורך, וכבוד אדוני עלייך זרח, כי הנה החושך יכסה ארץ וערפל לאומים, ועלייך יזרח. אדוני וכבודו עלייך יראה, כל ישועות עשה בשם אדוני יקרא. אנא אדוני הושיענה, אנא אדוני הושיענה. אנא אדוני הצליחנה, אנא אדוני הצליחנה, הצליחנו, הצליח דרכנו, הצליח לימודנו, שלח ברכה ברכה והצלחה בכל מעשה ידינו, כי דכתיב יישא ברכה מאת אדוני ותוקם אלוהי אישו, ליהודים הייתה אורה ושמחה וששון ויקר, וכתיב יהי דוד לכל דרכיו מזכיר, ואדוני עמו, כן יהיה עמנו תמיד. סברי מרנן, ברוך אתה אדוני אלינו מלך עולם בורא פרי הגפן. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם בורא מיני בשמים. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם בורא מאורי האש. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם המבדיל בין קודש לחול, בין אור לחושך, בין ישראל לעמים, בין יום השביעי לששת ימי המעשה. ברוך אתה אדוני המבדיל בין קודש לחול. שבוע טוב.